Welcome into another edition of That's Deep. I'm Tommy Z, joined as always by Johnny Bravo. Still trying to right the ship here. Last week's card had a chance to be a decent one, but a couple judges' decisions kind of killed us. And then Bilal in the end, that fifth round, he had a shot, but fell off a cliff. So we didn't get what we wanted out of that card. But we bounce back hopefully this week. We've got a bit of a rough card here. We've got some massive favorites that probably don't deserve to be that big of a favorite, so we're going to have to try to pick and choose our spots. But as always, we try to make money. There's money to be made on all these fights. So, Johnny, how you feeling? What are you thinking about this card?
Feeling good. Got a dumpster to dive in and pick through and see what we can get. Been a rough last couple of weeks, so time to get on track and make some money.
Yes, sir. I've got a handful of dogs on this card, so I'm curious to see where you're at with all these fights. So, with that said, we'll jump right into it. Our first fight on the card is in the women's strawweight division. We've got Tisha Pennington taking on Luana Pinheiro. We know Tisha, the tiny tornado. She's all action all the time. She's a tough out. Pinheiro's got some power. She's dangerous early in fights. Slows down a little bit as fights go on. But what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, exciting one to start the card. Pinheiro pretty much. I mean, she's pretty much got 5 minutes of cardio. I mean, she fades out during fights. I mean, she's got power in her hands. She's got striking. She's okay. She's decent, but it's just the 5 minutes of cardio that she just falls off a cliff and looks for a way out. She's on a rough streak here. I think it's like 4 in a row. She's lost 3 or 4 in a row. So, if she doesn't get this one, it's probably her walking papers. So, I mean, she's got to be motivated coming into here, or if it's not going her way, she might look for the way out. Tisha's a volume striker, not much power. She's going to, she's quick, she's fast, she stays on the outside. She'll pick you apart. Excellent takedown defense. It's hard to get her down. And keep her down. So, I guess Pinheiro's path to victory here would probably try to land something big early or maybe get a takedown and get a finish early. But other than that, I see Tisha just pretty much taking over and just being able to just piece her up. And I don't know if she gets the finish here, but I see Tisha winning this pretty easily here. I think the only way Pinheiro's only path is an early finish.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you've got a volume pace fighter taking on a fighter with, pretty questionable cardio to be nice. I think Tisha probably rolls here. The first round could get interesting. Obviously, Pinheiro's got some pretty good power, but all in all, Tisha's a pretty sizable favorite here, and for good reason. But, this is, Tisha Pennington. She's a decision fighter, so I would expect the overs in this fight. She probably goes to a decision. I guess there's a possibility of her finishing this fight late if Pinheiro is just cooked. But, I like Pennington here. I think this is a pretty straightforward one. We'll move on. Our next fight here is a little bit more interesting. We've got Young Sung Park taking on Carlos Hernandez. Flyweight fight. Two guys. Hernandez hasn't had the greatest luck in the UFC to this point. He's been kind of up and down, but he's fought some pretty tough guys. He's had some tough fights, close fights. And Park, I don't know what to make of this kid yet. He's, he looks pretty solid. He's got a pretty well-rounded game, but he hasn't really fought anybody of substance to this point. Park is the favorite here. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, Park, another one of these road to the UFC fighters, which you never feel comfortable backing, and especially at Juice. Um, yeah, but I mean, from the tape, from what I see, I mean, he seems pretty well rounded. I mean, he's got some good grappling. I mean, the striking seems pretty sharp. He's got power in his hands. He can crack. You know, that Choi fight kind of impressed me. Like, his back was kind of up against the wall there in that fight, and he kind of turned it around. Turned it around and got that late rear naked choke and got the win there. And of course, he fought Shannon Ross, which, I mean, he didn't hit his chin, which was surprising, but he got him to the body. So that's interesting. Um, so, I mean, I think he's okay. He's a decent fighter. You know, Hernandez, he's a well-rounded guy, good takedown defense, good boxing, great cardio. Cardio is he's kind of a junkyard dog. He's always in there. He's always in fights. He's always live. Like you said, he's had a rough stretch. He's also fought a bunch of these Asian guys, Saruya and Tatsuro Taira, tough road, yeah, but him as a dog here, I mean, I got to take the shot on him as a dog just because, I don't really know too much about Park and what he can bring, I mean, he seems like a good fighter, but he was kind of sketchy in that Choi fight. And I think if Hernandez can keep the fight on the feet here and utilize his boxing, he can make it a close fight. Yeah, this is a dog shot for me on Hernandez. I was kind of back and forth on this one all week, but since a little bit more money has come in on Park, the number on Hernandez has kind of got more appealing as the week has gone on. So, yeah, it's going to be a Hernandez dog shot for me.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I like Hernandez in the dog spot here. The kid, I think he's a good fighter. He's showed in that Saruya fight. Saruya that's what he does. He's a grappler. He's extremely dangerous with submissions. But I mean, he handled pretty much all the positions well. He scrambled out well. He had good get-ups. He had solid reversals. He showed he can go toe-to-toe with an elite grappler. And, he is a good striker. He's got a good game. His record in the UFC is not great, but in terms of competition, he's fought the tougher guys. And to me, this is a bit of a step down. We don't know exactly what we're getting out of Park. Park might be the real deal, but in this situation, I think the fight's going to be close and competitive. I'll take the dog shot all day.
Yep.
All right, moving right along here. Our next fight is in the women's strawweight division. We've got Elise Reed taking on Denise Gomez. Gomez pretty sizable favorite here against Reed. Reed's got some good striking. She's her counters are good. She's pretty tough. She's been in some pretty close fights, but again, Gomez has looked pretty sharp in most of her fights to this point. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this is a rough one. I mean, you got Gomez at minus 650. I don't know what you can really do with that. Yeah, I mean, Elise Reed is just inconsistent. She seems to alternate wins and losses. I mean, good striking on the feet. Usually, all of her fights seem to be close. I don't know. And Gomez, I'm kind of high on Gomez. I mean, she seems like she's all right. She's got good power in her hands. She can go to the grappling here, which is, I mean, one of Reed's weaknesses is probably her takedown defense and getting held down. So, I mean, Gomez's clear path here would probably to land takedowns and maybe land some ground and pound But yeah, I mean, this is what are you going to do with the minus 650 favorite? You're going to have to pick. I haven't seen the numbers. Gomez, yeah, these lines. I mean, the decision is minus 105. I don't know. Elise Reed probably makes it to a decision. I'm not sure. She seems like a pretty tough girl, pretty durable. So I don't know. This is just a tough one. But I could see Gomez as well landing that big bomb. She's got that game-changing power, like we've seen in that Yasmin Haregi fight, where I mean, she just absolutely just starched her. So I don't know. There's gonna be a size difference here. At least Reed is gonna be substantially bigger than Gomez. With Gomes, then so Gomes is probably gonna have to get inside and land some big bombs. So I don't know. It's Gomez, but it's like what? How do you gonna? What are you gonna do? You gonna take the inside, the distance, or the or the decision? I'm not sure. I don't think the books know either. I mean, Gomez the win in round 2 start is minus 250. I mean, I don't know. This is just a tough. I can't really find an angle on how to get on this. So yeah, it's probably going to be Denise, but I don't know how I'm going to attack this. I mean, maybe the minus 3.5 in a parlay. Maybe she just dominates, or you can even get the finish on your side. But Reed is kind of a sneaky, striker on the feet, and I could see her stealing around. But I don't know.
Yeah.
This is a tough one for me. It's Denise, but I'm not sure how I'm going to go about it.
Yeah, man, I agree. I think Denise gets it done, but there, she's got the possibility to finish early, so it's tough to bet overs. Elise Reed's really tough. I mean, she does have a bit of a size advantage here. She has shown that she can take a punch and keep moving forward and make fights close, but yeah, it's just one of those fights where it feels like if you bet the overs, Gomez comes out and just catches her with something big, and it's over, and then you're pissed.
Yeah.
So it's tough, but you don't really want to bet that either because it's very easy that this fight could go 3 rounds. So tough spot here. I feel like you could throw Gomez in a parlay at her number, and just try to get something out of it. But overall, it's really tough to bet this fight, and this might just be a stay away.
Yeah, the minus unless you're taking a shot at like maybe a KO like 2-3 or something. Like, what's the number on that? Let me see. Yeah, I mean that's plus 750. I mean, I don't mind taking stabs at like big numbers like that, and maybe a late finish or, but yeah, I mean, even putting it to minus 650 in a parlay isn't going to really bring much value. So it's like, what can you really do?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. So this might just be a stay away fight for me. I mean, I think Gomez is the pick if you're betting. If you're throwing the full card parlay together, that's the pick. If you're like I do the Tout Master every week, so I have to pick a winner every fight. Gomez is the side, but yeah, not much you can do with this one. All right, we'll move on to the next fight here. Little bit more interesting one. We've got Luana Santos taking on Tanara Lisboa, women's bantamweight. Santos is a very good grappler. She's a judoka. She's got good judo. She's been doing that her whole life. Lisboa, she's shown that she can grapple. She is a striker. That's her base, but she has shown good offensive grappling and pretty good takedown defense. This one's interesting here. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this was another tough one for me, because I was really high on Luana Santos going into her last fight against Casey O'Neill. She was on a nice little run. She took that fight on short notice. She stepped up. I think she was like a minus 150 favorite, and she kind of just got absolutely like dog walked in that fight. I mean, it wasn't even close. It was like 30-26 on one card. So yeah, that wasn't the greatest of look, but she's taken some time off. I think she probably was dealing with some injuries, so she probably took some time, maybe got a surgery and healed up. So I mean, she's got good, she's a good, well-rounded fighter. She's got good striking. I like her combinations. She can grapple if she needs to. Yeah, I'm high. I was kind of high on her, but the last fight kind of brought her momentum down a little bit, and Lisboa is like another one. It's like there's a lot of fighters on this card who have been kind of away from the octagon for a long time, so you really don't know what you're getting or what's going on. I think she hasn't fought since 2023, so it's like a 2-year layoff almost. So yeah, I mean, she showed some good grappling in her last fight, but she also showed she can get taken down by Renee Oliveira, which isn't a great look. That third round was pretty bad. She was taken down and controlled pretty much the whole round. She kind of looked like she gassed out a little bit in that third round, and she did really well in the first 2 rounds, and but she kind of gassed in that third round and kind of just gave it away. She still won the fight, but it wasn't a good look in that third round, and then she just kind of dominates Jessica Rose Clark, which isn't a lot to say. Yeah, but I mean, this should be a pretty interesting fight. The little bit of monies came in on Luana Santos earlier in the week. I was looking to bet Santos money line, but then I looked at it and then the number had just went up a little bit. So yeah, I like Santos here. Maybe Santos in over 1.5. But yeah, this should be a close fight, and yeah, it should be it should be interesting. But yeah, the pick for me is Santos, and probably Santos to win in round 2 starts.
Yeah, I was back and forth on it as well. The question for me is, does Santos get the takedowns? And if she does, she wins this fight. If she gets the takedowns early, she probably wins this fight. But it's gonna be competitive. Lisboa is the better striker. If she wants to keep it at range, she has a pretty good advantage there. And it really comes down to me, Lisboa, if she's able to stuff a few takedowns early, bank a couple of early rounds, she gets the job done here. Because she will look to be the better fighter out the beat. And she's got, like I said, she's shown that she can grapple. So it all comes down to how that cardio looks. I'm going to take the shot on Lisboa here. I think, just the striking advantage. And if she can stuff some takedowns and even land a takedown of her own, I don't think she wants to play on the ground too much here. But, she's so far, I think she looks pretty strong. She's got decent takedown defense. She's got a good ability to scramble, and her top game is pretty good. So I'm going to take the dog shot here. It's going to be a close competitive fight, and basically it all comes down to me. If Santos gets the takedowns early, she probably wins this fight, and it is what it is. But I think it's competitive for the first couple rounds, and I'll take the dog shot, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that was the concern for me from back in Lisboa would be like, say it's 1-1 going into the third, and, it's like she did not look great later in that Oliveira fight. So, if it's close, then, Santos probably maybe could steal it in that third. So, yeah, that was my concern of backing Lisboa, and I just got to ride with Santos.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I like Santos. I've been a backer of hers. She's looked good pretty much up until that last fight. She didn't look great. She took that fight on short notice, though. She had,
and she went to Australia, I think, right, to take that fight, or she had to travel somewhere, right?
I believe it was a travel, yeah. So, there is a little built-in excuse there. She had a month to prepare, so not like the shortest of notice, but she was fighting a pretty tough fighter in Casey O'Neill, so it's not like it's the worst of looks. So, yeah, I think it's a close competitive fight. I'll take the dog shot, but yeah, I can, I think we'll probably have an opportunity here live. I think there's probably a live betting opportunity going into the third round. If it looks like Santos has a little bit of momentum, I might step up and throw something on her. But for now, I'll take the dog, and we'll go with that. All right, our next fight is in the featherweight division. We've got Yader Deval taking on Connor Matthews, Duvall making his UFC debut here. I was pretty impressed with him on the Contender Series. He showed a lot of heart. He went for the finish in round 2. Kind of got tired in that fight, but still was able to push a pace. Connor Matthews has been finished in his last 2 fights. He's 1-3 if you count his Contender Series fights under the UFC banner. So he hasn't looked great. Duvall, pretty solid favorite here. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think it's Del Valle. So, Yadier Del Valle.
Yeah,
So,
I think you're right. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Connor Matthews, man, I don't know how good he is. I don't know if he's UFC level. You know, he's one of these New England, Boston guys, New England cartel. These guys are typically not very good fighters. I mean, his regional competition is not very great. I mean, he fought, I don't know if you know Jay Ellis, who the guy I think he's like 10 and like 52 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
he's terrible. It might be worse than that by now, but yeah, I mean, the level of competition this guy was fighting on the regional scene was pretty much can crushing, and he's come to the UFC and has not looked the greatest. Yeah, his last fight against Delgado just absolutely got starched, which we were on Delgado to starch him. Yeah, I'm not too high on this guy, and yeah, I don't know what he brings to the table. I guess he can. I guess his only path would be to make it kind of like a junkyard fight and just make it grimy and greasy. But I just really question his durability and his chin and his heart.
Yeah.
And Del Valle, he's looked good. Yeah, from what I've seen from the tape, I mean, he's got like really good like pressure boxing, good volume. Cardio checks out. He looks good. The thing I noticed is he's always kind of fishing for those submissions too, which is kind of interesting. That could be a sneaky spot here. Maybe he locks onto something here and he catches something. Maybe a guillotine or something like head and arm or something. Because I could see him going to the grappling here. He's got some good grappling in his back pocket. I like the pressure and the volume he's got. Maybe against somebody else, it would kind of be a different outlook. But I mean, yeah, I'm not sure what Matthews really brings to the table here. Yeah, I'm not high on him at all. So this is a rough card. This is a really rough card.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, it's probably Del Valle for me, and probably I was looking at inside the distance. Honestly, that probably going to be my bet at plus money, taking a shot on him inside the distance. So. Yeah, maybe a little sprinkle on that sub because he always seems to kind of try to lock something up. So that's what I noticed on the tape. So yeah, it's Del Valle and Del Valle inside the distance.
Yeah, I'm actually, after watching him, I'm actually surprised he doesn't. I would expect him to have more finishes than he does. I mean, he throws heavy elbows, he throws heavy knees in the clinch. He's pretty nasty. He's big, he's strong. I mean, the guy that he fought on the Contender Series was a veteran with many, many fights. I think had at least double the fights that he had. And I feel like anybody else in that situation, he probably gets the finish. So I think the kid's got some upside for sure. And yeah, I mean, Matthews, I don't know. I just feel like he's another young body. And I just looked. Jay Ellis is 16 and 110 is his.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Shout out to Jay Ellis for doing a damn thing.
Yeah.
I don't even know how you fight that many times, but
yeah, that's. I mean, if you're at that point, I mean, you just got to give it up, bro. You just don't got it.
It's crazy. But yeah. So Duvall for me as well. Yeah, I think he gets it done. There's a good chance he finds a finish in this fight. Matthews coming off, 2 fights in the UFC. He's been finishing both. Don't think he's very good.
Yeah, he got starched by Dennis Bazookia. Like, dude, that dude fucking sucks, dude.
Not a great look. Not a great look. So yeah, I do think there's probably a finish opportunity here. I mean, yeah, he probably smashes him. So I like him. I like him as a parlay piece. I think he probably finishes the fight. -3.5. I feel pretty good about. I feel great about actually. So
what's that number?
Maybe the -3.5 is the way. It's probably not the best, but it's
-200.
Yeah, but still, I mean, I like it. I don't think this fight's going to be competitive. I feel pretty
sub
in a parlay.
Sub plus 330 could be sneaky.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I mean, he can definitely lock something up. You know, he could beat him up on the ground, take his neck. That's live. That's live for sure.
What's inside the distance now? Inside the distance. I don't have it here. No, can't find it. I thought I seen it like a +150.
Yeah, I don't hate that either. See if I've got it here before we move on. It's going to take a second to load here.
Oh, +110 now.
Yeah. So I don't mind. I don't mind the -3.5. I think it's going to be a pretty lopsided fight here. Honestly, he should finish this fight. I just feel like these guys are on two different levels. But yeah, give me Duval and
Duval.
But we'll move on here to the next fight, which is a pretty solid one. Got Jared Gordon taking on Thiago Moises, lightweight bout here. Jared Gordon, you know, he's another kind of junkyard dog. He's a tough out. He's been knocked out a handful of times, but for the most part, you know, he's in fights. He makes it tough. He's got solid grappling. He's got pretty good hands. And Moises is, you know, he's got some pretty good striking too, but he's low volume. Got very good submissions. He's a good grappler. Close one here. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. You know, Jared Gordon, I mean, always seems to kind of just get robbed in fights. I mean, Paddy Pimblett fight, I mean, he clearly won that fight, and it's just, yeah, that was just a brutal robbery. You know, that was a rough one for him. And then the Bobby Green fight, he was, you know, he was piecing up Bobby Green until, you know, that headbutt, and then he just gets absolutely just demolished, you know. Yeah, I mean, he's a good, you know, well-rounded guy, you know, good striking. You know, he's got some wrestling in his back pocket, you know, good combinations on the feet, as we've seen, like with that Marco Madsen fight where he just absolutely obliterated him, you know. Yeah, and then Haparas fight was, you know, I was on Haparas in that fight, but it was like, man, this guy Gordon, you know, Gordon came to fight, you know, and it was a super close fight. I think he probably like won that fight, but once again, the judges don't seem to like him, so he never gets that friendly judges scorecard, you know. But yeah, he's a good, well-rounded guy. You know, he has been knocked out, but you know, recently it seems his chin has kind of held up, you know, in the recent fights, you know. Yeah, and Thiago Moises is kind of just like a frustrating guy to me. He's like, he's got all the talent, but it's like he's just so low volume, you know. And he did go to the Fighting Nerds recently, and before his last fight, and you know he had a decent showing there. But you know, it's like he's just way too low volume for me. You know, his game plan is obviously if he can get the grappling going. I mean, he's really super dangerous with his you know submission grappling. You know, and I guess that would be his path here. But I mean, Gordon's got some pretty good, takedown defense. And, I just think if this is on the feet and if Gordon can stuff them takedowns and keep it on the feet, Moises is just low volume, man. And Gordon's going to be there in your face, putting pressure, landing the volume. And yeah, I like Gordon in this fight. And even though, it's like Gordon's always in these close fights, so I like Gordon here, but yeah, it's like, man, this is a super close fight. And if Moises is getting takedowns, I can easily see a path to him winning. But I'm just going to lean on Gordon being able to keep it on the feet and just land more volumes and edge out a decision. But as we've seen before, when it goes to the cards, the judges don't really favor him. But I think if it stays on the feet, there should be no doubt here, just by the volume.
Yeah, if it stays on the feet, the volume is definitely going to favor Gordon. It might get interesting, though, with, Gordon's not the biggest power puncher. For the most part, he's gone to decision in most of his fights in the UFC. He's got a couple finishes, but not the most powerful guy in the world. Yeah, I mean, I like Moises. I like what he brings to the table. He's got good striking. He's just not super high volume. I think he could probably get the takedowns and kind of bank rounds that way. But I think it's going to be close. It's going to be a close fight. Jared Gordon's a tough out. He's always been. So to me, it's a coin flip. I'm going to roll with the dog here. I'll roll with Moises. But yeah, I mean, confidence-wise, not super high. I think it's a good fight. Two guys that, if one guy shows up with his best, he's going to get the job done. And it just all depends on who shows up the better fighter on the night. And I'm rolling with Moises, but yeah, close fight, tough to pick. And it's going to be a good one. It's going to come right down to it. All right, our next fight here is in the lightweight division. We've got Gabe Green, who's been off for a couple of years, moving down to 155, taking on Mateus Camillo, making his UFC debut. Camillo, I mean, from what I've seen, it looks to be pretty good. He's got some good skills, but we haven't seen him against the highest level of competition. Gabe Green, a guy who's coming off a pretty bad knockout loss, but again, that was 2 years ago. Interesting one here. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, another fighter that's like a 2-year layoff. Gabe Green, all action guy. The last fight I was actually on him against Brian Battle, and he probably fought the stupidest game plan you can probably fight. You know what I mean? He went in there throwing haymakers and bombs with no defense and got absolutely starched. He's kind of a killer be killed fighter. He goes in there and he's either going to take your head off or he's going to get his head taken off. A lot of violence, good boxing, a lot of volume, power in his hands, just not very defensively sound and he can get cracked, but if he doesn't get cracked, then he's always live, and it's like another guy that's been off and you don't really know what you're getting. He's dropping down here. So is that going to affect his chin? It's tough to really tell. I don't know how to take these guys coming off these layoffs. It's like, and you're dropping down, you're older already, it's a tough read, and then, Camilo is, from what I've seen, he looks pretty decent. He's got some pretty good takedown defense. When he does get taken down, he kind of, uses a submission position to get back up to the feet, and the boxing looks pretty clean. The volume looks decent. This is the guy that, you remember the guy in the press conference that begged Dana White for a fight. So he fought Camilo on the Korean Zombies promotion. And, You know, he kind of was able to stuff the Turkmenistan guys, you know, takedowns and just kind of out cardio them, land leg kicks, and just outwin the fight. So I mean, Dana White gave him a contract. He gave him a shot here. He's also Myron Santos, one of Myron Santos' training partners. So he's on the card here. We'll talk about him a little bit later. So yeah, I don't know. This is a tough one. I want to take a shot on Green, but I don't know if I can just do it, man. I don't know. I don't think I can do it. I think the money line is probably a little wide here on Camilo, but I think he should probably be favored. But I think he should probably be like a minus 140 and not like a minus 230.
Yeah.
God, this is just a tough one for me. I can't after backing Gabe Green against Brian Battle. I think I told myself I would never back Gabe Green again. So yeah, it's going to be Camilo for me. It's just like I don't like the number, but I do think Gabe Green is always live to land a big shot and put him out. You know, and also you know this is going to be a big step up in competition for Camilo and how he's going to handle it. You know, so
yeah,
it's going to be interesting. I just can't back Gabe Green, man. I just can't do it. Especially coming off a 2-year layoff, you're getting starched. Now you're dropping down. Like, yeah, it's not the greatest looks for the guy. I can't confidently put my money on him. So I guess the pick is Camilo, but not with a lot of confidence.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm curious to see what the weigh-ins look like. If Green looks good on the scales, yeah, I may take the shot because he is a good, you know, he's a pretty solid fighter overall. I mean, he's been clipped, seen him dropped a few times. You know, he's been finished before in the past. So that durability could come into play here if you know, at 155. He's not the biggest guy in the world, though. I mean, I think he's 5'9". He's my size.
Yeah.
So, you know, he's not huge. You know, he was fighting some tough guys at welterweight. I mean, he fought Ian Gary, went to decision with Ian Gary. That's aged pretty well. You know, Ian Gary kind of controlled that fight and did his thing, but still, I mean, that's a tough guy to go 3 rounds with. So yeah, I mean, if weigh-ins look good for Green, I might take a shot here, but as of right now, as we pick this fight, I'm gonna roll with Camilo. But again, I don't like to back debuting fighters against bets. It's just not. It generally doesn't go that great for me. So at that price, I'm not going to bet the kid. I think the line is too wide, and I could easily see myself pulling the trigger on Green, you know, after weigh-ins, or potentially a live opportunity here if he looks good. You know, first round competitive, Gabe Green. He's been there. He's done that. You know, could be a good opportunity. So Camille's a pick for me, but probably not going to do anything with it in terms of betting, and wouldn't mind throwing something on Gabe Green at some point. All right, our next fight is this should be a fun one here. We got Julian Erosa taking on Mel Costa, featherweight fight. Erosa, we just saw him fight a little over a month ago. Dominated that fight against Darren Elkins. Looked like $1 million. But you know, Costa he's a good, well-rounded fighter. He's got grappling. He's got striking. Not the biggest power puncher, which, you know, with Erosa, you always worry about that chin. Obviously, he's been knocked out 7 times, so he could get clipped at any point and finished. But I think this is a pretty good competitive fight here. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is 2 guys that are they're both on winning streaks. They're 3-fight winning streak, and it's a quick turnaround for both of them. You know, Rosa we just seen. I mean, how much credit do you give to him in that last fight, though? I mean, Darren Elkins is just it's.
Yeah.
I mean, that was probably a pathetic. That was one of the most pathetic performances I've ever seen. He should have not even been in the octagon. Yeah, but I mean, he did what he had to do and put him away. You know what he's got. DeRosa. He's got good boxing. He can lock up a Darce, can lock up a front choke. He's got good subs. He's a decently well-rounded guy. But it's like Julian Erosa's chin is always the thing that always seems to fail him at times. It's like you're one chin check away from going lights out with him. But I mean, he is a good fighter, and if he can stay safe and be defensively sound, then I mean, he could be competitive here, and Mel Costa is on a pretty good run, and he's looked, pretty good. The Christian Rodriguez fight in Mexico was at elevation. I had a lot of questions about his cardio, but we were on him in that fight, and he looked like he was the guy with the better cardio. Usually Rodriguez is usually the guy that's pushing the pace and taking over later in the fight, but the roles were reversed in that fight, and he looked really sharp in that fight, and I like what I've seen improving. His striking looks pretty good. I like those big body kicks he lands. The grappling is good. He subbed who'd he sub? He subbed Feely. That was a great fight. He's banging him out here. He's quick turnarounds, and when you're hot, you got to just keep on going. Yeah, I'm gonna say Mel Costa here gets the job done. I just think he's the more durable guy, and he's going to be able to land those big body kicks and maybe find that chin of Rosa. Or, he can go to his grappling like we've seen before. He's got good, strong grappling and good top game. The cardio seems to check out. That was my big concern with him in the past, is that the cardio wasn't the greatest, but he seemed to kind of prove me wrong in these last couple of fights, and he's kind of, ironed those deficiencies in his fighting style out. So, yeah, the pick for me is going to be Costa, and I'm not sure how I'm going to bet him. Probably in a parlay. Money is coming in on the Rosa a little bit. Costa was like minus 200 earlier in the week, so maybe wait out a little bit. But yeah, I'm going to be probably on his money line. It's like hard to bet Mel Costa in the overs here, just with how bad Rosa's chin is, because it's like one shot can put him out. So you don't really feel comfortable betting like an over 1.5 or a fight starts round 2. So I'll probably throw him in a parlay, but yeah, I like Mel Costa to keep the momentum rolling and get a win in here.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I kind of agree, man. I think Costa probably finds a way to get it done. Rosa scares the crap out of me, man. Though he's so dangerous. Like he can grab a sub at any point. I mean, he's got a ton of submissions on his record. He does have good striking. I mean, he's a problem. He's big. He's rangy. He finds a way to win fights. But like you said, the chin is scary. Now, Costa's not the biggest power puncher in the world, but I don't know if it takes the biggest power puncher to drop Rosa and hurt him. So, yeah, I like Costa. I mean, I think he's good. He's looked solid in his last few fights. Overall, I mean, I've been watching the kid since he was in the WEC. He's a good fighter. He's a tough out. So I agree. I think Costa's aside here definitely worries me a little bit, because Rosa, he finds those subs out of nowhere, and he's definitely got some power, so he can catch you at any point. But I'm gonna roll with you. I think Costa's durable enough, and I think he's got the skill set. I think he can get the job done here. All right, our next fight is in the middleweight division. We got Dustin Stoltzfus taking on Nursultan Ruziboev. Stoltzfus is a guy. I mean, the guy's got some skills. We saw He he starched Marc-Andre Barrial with pretty little effort. But Ruziboa pretty well rounded. He's got a lot of fights. He's got like 50 fights in his career. A lot of finishes. Pretty much, I think all but 2 of his wins have been finishes. He's looked pretty good in the UFC. His one hiccup was against Joaquin Buckley, who's Joaquin Buckley's on a hell of a roll himself. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this should be an interesting one. I'm not high on Stoltzfus. I don't know how good he is. I mean, he's got some skills. He's got some good grappling. He's got some good subs. I think that knockout of Marc-Andre Barriault was kind of a fluke. I mean, I just think Marc-Andre Barriault's. I mean, I think his chin is gone. Obviously, in his last fight, Bruno Silva just had absolutely nothing and didn't want to be in there, so he couldn't really expose that. So I mean, but Stoltzfus was able to stand in there and he landed one good solid shot and absolutely just obliterated him. I think it'll be hard for him to do that here. But he does have some decent. Stoltzfus does have some decent grappling on his side. If he's getting takedowns, he is dangerous with the sub. I think how many subs does he have? I think he's got quite a few subs. So I mean, he's dangerous on the. He's dangerous on the ground, so I mean he could be a tricky guy, but I was never really high on this guy. I don't think he's very good. I think his chin is very, very questionable. He can be cracked, he can be knocked out, he can be put away. So yeah, and I mean Ruziboev, he's going to be pretty massive here. He's 6'5", big guy, big power in his hands, decent striking. He's got some good grappling in his own, but Buckley was kind of able to overpower him, in that sense. But I mean, Buckley is, miles ahead of Dustin Stoltzfus. So I struggle to see Stoltzfus really like getting his grappling going the way Buckley did against Ruziboev. So I think he's able to keep. I mean, Ruziboev himself has some pretty good subs in his back pocket too, and some grappling. So I think this is probably going to be on the feet, and I think. Ultimately, I think Ruziboev lands that big shot, and I think it's probably early, and he probably starches him. Yeah, I'm going to be on Ruziboev KO here. That's pretty one of the more confident bets of the week for me is Ruziboev by KO. And I think it's night for Stoltzfus. But
I like Ruziboev here too. Fighting at middleweight, I mean he's gigantic. He's not going to be cutting down to 170, which it was crazy. So I think size-wise, he's got a big advantage. I think he's a better technical striker. He's got the power. He's got the grappling. He comes from a really tough grappling camp. He trains with guys like Sean Brady and all those boys over in Philly. So I mean, I Stoltzfus, he's got some skills, and I don't think he's the worst fighter in the world, but his volume's not great. He's not super powerful. Obviously, he got the finish over Barriault, but it's just one of those things that happens. And again, Barriault's chin seems like it's kind of cooked. And obviously, we didn't see that in the last fight, like you said. He was fighting a guy who had really no interest in being there. So I think Stoltzfus is a solid fighter. He's got some skills, but Ruziboev's aside here. I think he's just overall the better skill set. He's got a lot of experience, and he's a tough out. So Ruziboev for me as well. All right, that brings us to our next fight in the lightweight division. We've got 2 featherweights fighting up a weight class. Sadiq Youssef taking on Myron Santos. Santos says, he's looked really good. Kid's got good power, good striking, pretty well-rounded. And Sadiq Youssef, I mean, he's a guy, he's been around the UFC for a while. He's fought some of the top guys in the featherweight division. His losses are Arnold Allen, Diego Lopez and Barboza. And Barboza, that was a hell of a fight. He had, he looked great early. He hurt Barboza early in that fight. Um, yeah, I mean, Yusef's he's a tough kid. He's a really tough out. Pretty big step up here for Santos. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. Coming into the UFC, I was real high on Myron Santos. He went on that tough run, absolutely obliterated Con Offley in the final. He looked really good. Really good striking, really good takedown defense. Well, he's made improvements in his takedown defense. That was kind of one of question mark before, but he seems to have ironed that out. So, I mean, yeah, really good takedown defense. Good power in his hands, real good technical strikers, good combinations. But it was a really like a weird fight last fight against Francis Marshall, where he just didn't seem like he wanted to pull the trigger. Somehow he got a decision there, which I mean everybody was raving how that was probably one of the biggest robberies of the year. Which I was on Santos in that fight, and I felt like real lucky to sneak away with the win there. So yeah, it's like if this kid is, he's got real sharp combinations, really good boxing, good power in his hands, but this is a step up, Super Sadiq, another guy coming off a big long layoff, coming by not well about a year. He's been off about a year. He got absolutely starched by Diego Lopez. I was actually on him in that fight against Diego Lopez. He got absolutely starched. Yeah, but and that's kind of his problem is he's kind of like he's kind of a killer be killed fighter from what I've seen. Like he has a really good strong start. He comes out throwing big bombs and then he kind of seems to just fall off a cliff. It's like that Edson Barbosa fight. He absolutely destroys Edson Barbosa in the first round, and probably a 10-8. Got him close to finish. Thought Barbosa was cooked, and then Yusef just absolutely like falls off a cliff and really has nothing left after the first round. He's got all the skills. He's got really good striking, really good boxing. He can go to the grappling if he needs it. He really doesn't go to it too much, but he's a decently well-rounded guy. Coming off a layoff here, going up in weight class, that should kind of help his chin. I mean, the chin is kind of suspect. Yeah, but he's moving up here. That should help his chin. Oh, this is kind of another tough one for me. I was kind of on the fence with this one. It's like, fuck, man. I've been on the Myron Santos, bandwagon for, since he came into the UFC even on tough. So it's like, do I jump off now? I think, you said this could be a step up in competition for Santos here. This is going to be levels above, and I think this could be a vet lesson, a learning lesson for him. So I kind of just talked myself into Santos, but I'm going to stay with my initial pick with, I think, I kind of think, I think Yusef probably gets the job done. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence with this one. I'm going to lean Yusef, but I don't know. I kind of want to see scales, see how these guys look. And yeah, I'm going to go with Yusef, I think. This is a tough one for me.
Yeah, I actually feel pretty good about Yusef here. I mean, he's fought the much higher level of competition. I mean, Arnold Allen is a guy that's he's right there on the cusp of the top 5 title picture type guy. Barbosa's a great fighter. It was a 5-round fight. Yusef looked great early. Looked like he was going to get the finish and get the job done, but still he ends up going 5 rounds. And he still outstruck Barbosa in that fight. He's actually in his 3 losses in the UFC, he's outstruck two of his opponents. The only one he didn't outstrike was Diego Lopez, who obviously, got him out of there in the first round. But again, Diego Lopez is, right there, title picture type guy. So Yusef's fighting the best guys in the world. He's a very well-rounded fighter. He's very skilled. To me, this is just an experienced fight, and I have to roll with Yusef here. I think he gets the job done, and I think he could look really good doing it. I think he's got all the skills. Cardio has fallen off at points, but this is a 3-round fight here. We know he can go 5 rounds and put up pretty good volume over the course of 5 rounds. So, yeah, give me Yusef here. I feel pretty good about this one.
Yeah, all week I was kind of leaning the Yusuf side, and the more I think about it, but yeah, I'm going to stick with Yusuf here. Yeah, I'm going to go with my initial pick. I'm not flip-flopping.
Yeah, I honestly, I feel pretty good about him here. This is he's just, I guess he could get cracked with something big, but for the most part, we've seen he's been pretty durable. He's fought some really tough guys, and he's fought well against those guys outside of the Diego Lopez fight, which was, Diego Lopez is really good, so you can't really take too much out of that fight. But yeah, I feel pretty good about him. Here. All right, so that brings us to our co-main event. We've got kind of a rough one here. Honestly, neither one of these guys is very good at this point. We've got Rodolfo Bellato taking on Paul Craig. Paul Craig moving back up to light heavyweight. He fought, I believe, 4 fights at middleweight. He got a nice win against Muniz in his middleweight debut, but has not looked good since. He's on a 3-fight losing streak. Bellato here, Bellato's a massive favorite in this spot. I do not think this guy's very good. The rounds he's won in the UFC has basically been over guys that beat the piss out of him and then gassed out. And then he kind of survived and took over in those fights. So I hate this money line on Bellato. Paul Craig, I don't know what to make of him at this point. He's extremely dangerous in the grappling, and if he gets this fight to the ground, the fight could be over, within seconds. But what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, this is a wide line. I don't know how good Bellato is. He's the level of competition. He's been losing majority of these fights, and just like the Ihor Peteria fight was not a good look. Even in his last fight, it's just the guy. I don't know how good he is. The Jimmy Crute fight was just bad luck. It's like it was a majority draw. I was on Crute in that fight. He's just not a minus 500 favorite kind of guy. You'd be really too confident in. But what does Paul Craig really bring to the table? You know what I mean? Paul Craig is cooked. He's washed. He's done. This is the last fight on his contract, so he's fighting for his job here. Paul Craig is always live. The jiu-jitsu is, he's always, live to lock something up. We've seen that before. We know that. And Bellato isn't the smartest guy, so it wouldn't surprise me if Paul Craig were to fluke something in, lock something in. But Paul Craig's striking is just terrible. The chin is terrible. Yeah, I like violence here. Probably under 2.5 in a parlay, but probably Bellato KO. But this is just a rough one, man. It's probably Bellato KO unders and parlays and call it a day with no confidence. Yeah, this is a rough one, man.
Yeah, I agree. I think Bellato sucks. He's not good.
Yeah, he's not good.
But
we're gonna get a chance to fucking fade this guy at a fucking nice number, dude.
Absolutely. Yeah, if he comes through and knocks out Paul Craig, and the next fight, I'll have all my money on his opponent, almost guaranteed.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tough because I could easily see Paul Craig winning this fight. I could see him, just kind of biding his time and finding an opening. And if it goes to the ground, I think
The
Paul
way
Craig.
I
Go
yeah,
ahead.
the way I see it is Bellato, fucking idiot Bellato fight IQ shoots in and goes right into Craig's guard, and Paul Craig locks up a triangle or something. I could totally see that.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah. If this fight's on the ground, Paul Craig will almost guaranteed find a finish. I'm pretty confident in that. And Bellato, his striking, he throws big, heavy power shots, but he's very off balanced a lot. He's very sloppy. Um, so, yeah, I mean, obviously, he could clip Craig and knock him out. And Craig has not had a good run recently, but then the knockout's like minus 330. So I don't feel very good about betting that. Um, at this point, I mean, this is to me, it's a dog or pass spot. Give me Paul Craig. I think
hmm.
it's a very good chance he finishes this fight. And yeah, I think Pilato sucks. I don't think he's anywhere near worth that price tag. And yeah, I mean, if I get crushed with Paul Craig getting knocked out, fine. I mean, it is what it is. But I just don't think this guy's very good. And if Paul Craig's ever gonna win another fight, this would be it. So I'll take Paul Craig here as the dog. I'd probably, if I'm gonna bet it, I'll probably bet him inside the distance because the sub obviously is
You
the way
probably
to go.
just take the sub. I mean, the sub is probably, the way to go, right?
But I mean, Paul Craig, hey, he's
Plus 700 on a sub. I mean,
yeah, but he has finished some fights by TKO. I mean, he finished Muniz by TKO. I think like 2 of his last 3 finishes have been by TKO. So it's
I like the under 2.5 in a parlay. That's,
I love the under 2.5.
yeah,
Absolutely.
it's juiced, but yeah, the Bellato KO is only minus 165.
Oh, all right. Because I looked at, I thought I saw like minus
The
360.
minus 3.5 is the minus 360. Is the minus 3.5.
Is that what I was looking at?
Yeah, that's had to be what you were looking at.
Maybe that's what I was looking at.
Yeah, the KO is minus 165.
That's not all right. I don't hate that. I don't hate that as much, but
Yeah, that might be a parlay piece for me.
yeah, he's so bad, man. It's
It's Paul
tough.
Craig is, I think, who's worse though.
I know that they're not. They're both terrible. That's the problem. I mean, Paul Craig is. I don't know, but I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna roll with old Paul Craig one last time. But yeah, I this fight. I mean, I guess
You can lock him. I'm sure you can lock him in on DFS. He's probably going to be like 6K.
yeah, for sure. Unfortunately,
Throw him in your lineups.
He has to finish the fight. He's not going to do anything else. So you're either going to get that finish, like first or second round, or you're not going to score any points. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. But yeah, I don't know. This Bellato dude, I think he sucks. He's not good. And if he does knock out Paul Craig, I'll get my money back on the next one because whoever he fights is going to probably roll through him. So give me Paul Craig as my official pick. But yeah, this is an underfight. The under 2.5 is probably the way to go here in a parlay. All right, so that brings us to our main event, and pretty interesting one here. We got Gilbert Burns taking on Michael Morales. Michael Morales, undefeated, has looked, he's looked solid in his run so far, but, hasn't looked like an absolute killer. Gilbert Burns, obviously, he's on a tough run. He's on a 3-fight losing streak, but he's lost to some pretty tough guys. From what I've seen, it looks like he's taking this fight pretty seriously. He looks like he's in really good shape, and we know Gilbert. He's shown up for these fights in the past. Morales is a pretty sizable favorite here over a guy that was a former title contender. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean the line is probably a little wide, probably a lot wide. I mean it should probably be like Morales minus 350 or something like that. He's all the way up to like I think 850 now. Let me double check here. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous, but I mean I definitely think he should be favored. I mean I like this Morales kid. I like what I've seen. He's a well-rounded guy. I like his striking. He's got power in his hands. Beautiful striking, beautiful counters. He can grapple if he needs to. Good takedown defense. I think this kid has potential to be something later on in this division. It's just his division is just so log jammed right now. It's like you got to just fight through. But I think he has a lot of potential. And it's like what are we going to get out of Gilbert Burns here? He's coming off a layoff here. He was winning the JDM fight. He was up on 2 judges' cards. And, it's kind of that third round. He was doing well. He got the takedown, but JDM was able to scramble up to the feet and landed a giant, massive knee and put him away. But you see that Gilbert was kind of slowing down in that fight. He was kind of gassing. And that's kind of what has been his kind of like his demise, is his cardio. His cardio has let him down. That Bilal fight. I know he got injured in that fight, but after like in round 3, he looked completely cooked. The Usman fight after round 1, he looked completely tired. You can't finish Jorge Masvidal, a wash Jorge Masvidal on his way out. That's a bad look. Not the greatest of runs. It seems like even I've seen an interview where he was saying like that Hamza Chimaev fight kind of just like took all like it was a great performance and it was a war and like. I mean, that's one of my favorite fights to watch. That's a great fight to watch. Yeah. He said that kind of just took I forgot what he said, but that kind of put a lot of pressure on him, to live up to that fight, that because it was such a great fight, So he's what is he, 39 years old now? He's coming off quite a long layoff here. He looks like he's in good shape from what I've seen, but it's like. Man, you got to go 5 rounds with this young killer, this young 25-year-old killer that's going to be, have the advantage pretty much everywhere. Gilbert, he's world-class jiu-jitsu, but when's the last time, Gilbert Burns has subbed somebody? It's I think, Neil Magny. I think it's been a while.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so it's like the submission game is there, but he doesn't really ever lock nothing in, the grappling's good. I guess that would be his path here. It would be to kind of get some takedowns and steal some rounds. But, I think the cardio is just not going to hold up here. And I think my struggle is here. How do you get on Morales at minus 800? You know what I mean? It's like it's hard. It's like you can't really parlay him. It's like I think maybe you can go
the overs.
Yeah, I think it's over. Let me see what we got here. Yeah, he's minus 800. The over 3.5 is even money. What is Morales and over 2.5? That's not out yet on this book. Yeah, it's not out yet. But
that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking when it drops to see what it is. Hopefully we can get like a decent number on that. We might because the over 3.5 is even money. Morales by knockout is minus 145. I think he probably knocks him out, but I don't know. This is just a tough one. It's minus 800. It's hard to get there. I think he wins. Yeah. I don't know how much Gilbert Burns has in the tank. It's probably going to be that Morales and over 2.5 that I'm going to be look to bet. or maybe a Morales in round 3 starts when all the props drop. You know what I mean? Because they're not all out for me right now. So yeah, it's Morales, and probably Morales over 2.5. Fight starts round 3. Probably be the look for me. But
Yeah, that's how I feel too. I love
Yeah.
Gilbert. I mean, Gilbert's one of the guys that I've been a big fan of him for many, many years, and I hate to pick against him. And I know he's going to come in great shape for sure. But, we saw with Aldo. Like, Aldo was winning that fight and was, looked like he was going to finish Zahavi in that third round, and the cardio just fell off a cliff. And at some point, when you're in your late 30s, it just, no matter how in shape you are, your cardio is just still not going to be there. And 5 rounds with a guy who's 26, 27 years old, who's
He's
got all,
25, isn't he?
yeah, he's very young. He's mid 20s, whatever it is. I mean, say he's 28, like that's still super young. With all the skills he's got, and Morales hasn't looked. He's beat guys that he should beat. Hasn't always looked like the most dominant guy in the world, but you see the skills are there, the takedown defense is there, and Burns can get takedowns on anybody, and I think he'll get takedowns here as well. Like, I can see Gilbert winning, rounds 1 or 2 and having some success early. I just, as the fight goes on, I don't think he's going to really put enough damage on Morales to really discourage him. And Morales is, we haven't even seen the best of this kid yet. So this is obviously going to be the best guy he's fought. And, it could definitely get interesting. But I just feel like down the stretch, I think Morales, he has all the tools. He has all the skills. And he's going to, he'll find a way to get it done. So I like Morales. I like the over 2.5. That's probably the way I'm going to bet it. I hate to bet against Gilbert Burns. I'm a huge fan of the guy, but sometimes age matters, and in the UFC, it matters more often than not. You got a 12-year age gap here. Give me Morales. I think he wins this fight, and I could see him getting a late finish. I mean, even like in that Neil Magny fight, like Neil Magny had him up against the cage. Looked like Magny was doing his thing the way Magny does. And then he throws a crazy elbow. He's got Magny on the ground. And, the next thing you know, he's finishing him. So, yeah, it's tough. It's tough to pick against the young guys in the UFC. And I can't. I got to go with Morales here. I think he gets it done. And good fight. I mean, I think Gilbert makes it competitive. I think he comes in. I think he'll be in shape, and he'll make a fight of it. But yeah, Morales, when it's all said and done, I think he gets his hand raised, and he's a couple fights away from title contention. Obviously, there's a pretty good logjam at the top of the division, but Morales, from everything I've seen, he's got some potential to become a champ. So. Yeah, Morales over 2.5, and yeah, that's it. So, all right, that's it. We got all the fights broken down. It's a relatively ugly card, but as always, we got fights pretty much every weekend, so try to make the best of it. And I think there's some pretty good spots here. So yeah, I guess Johnny, if you got anything else to say, let us know, and otherwise we'll get out of here.
No, that's it. See you guys this weekend.
All right, sounds good. We will be live for the fights this weekend. We got the All-Star race for NASCAR, so we'll be live for that. And yeah, let's catch some tickets.
Laters.